Oh yeah, baby, we're here with my thoughts on school part 5, and today I'm going to talk about... Wait a second. I've already done 4 of these, so what really is there to talk about? Whatever. I've already gone through the process of making this video, so I may as well upload it. But anyway, I think it's time I wrap up this intro and get started on part 5 of my thoughts on school. To start, I'd like to talk to all of you about something called synesthesia. You know what that is? For those of you who do, here, have a cookie. But for those of you who don't, synesthesia is basically when your brain associates certain things with certain colors. One of these things can actually be certain subjects in school. I took a poll a while back asking you all what colors you associated with the 4 core school subjects, and 5 of you voted. 2 of you agreed with my opinion of math being red, English being blue, science being green, and history being yellow. However, 3 of you had other opinions, and 2 of you commented them. Okay, this one's not bad. I can see how you'd associate math with blue. But this one? Why? The only thing I agree with here is science. Who thinks history is red? You know, there's more to school than just the 4 core classes. There's art class, PE, foreign languages, and even lunch and recess if you feel like those are worth mentioning. So, this is my official Stick-Dude-approved list of what color each class is. And no, I'm not counting all electives. I'm just doing a few. And don't expect explanations either. Synesthesia is natural, so there isn't really any explanation for why the brain sees classes as colors. As I just discussed, math is red, English is blue, science is green, and history is yellow. I'm giving art class the color of teal, foreign languages gets orange, PE gets brown, I did band for a bit in middle school, so it gets gray, computers class gets light blue, and for the whopping 2 people who wanted this, lunch is light green while recess gets purple. It's a pretty solid list in my opinion, but you'll have to let me know if you agree with it in the comments. And actually, now that I think of it, I've never actually talked about my experience in band class before, so I guess that's what I'll be covering next. My thoughts on band class are pretty mixed, to say the least. It was one of my chosen electives in the 6th grade, and I wanted to be a drummer because that's what my older brother did when he was in band, and he made it look really cool and easy. However, I wasn't the only kid trying to be a percussionist. It was a really popular role, and it was only given to a handful of kids. So, when I went for tryouts that summer, I was also tested to see how well I could blow into a horn, and just like that, I was a saxophonist. It wasn't too bad, but I was always a bit jealous of the percussionists. But hey, if I got to pick a woodwind instrument to play, I'd still have gone with the saxophone. Actually, one of my favorite things about playing the sax was where I got to sit. The seating was like this. The teacher was up here, then around her were the flutes, followed by the saxophones, then the clarinets, and finally there were the percussion instruments. And actually, the clarinet row also had a kid who played the oboe, and I'm pretty sure there was even someone with a tuba somewhere. But anyway, I really liked being sandwiched in between the other woodwind instruments. I wasn't too close to the teacher, so I could sometimes say a few words to another kid. However, I wasn't too close to the percussionists, so, actually, I guess there was no real benefit of being far from the back. I guess I just really liked being in the middle. Band was alright. I got a lot of practice in, and we even performed in front of an audience once in the school's auditorium for the holidays. However, I grew tired of exerting my lungs so much, and so halfway through my 7th grade year, I decided to quit. It was good while it lasted, but I just got sick of it. I kept the saxophone though. And hey, switching to a different topic, by show of hands, how many of you have actually used more than 30% of what you were taught in school? Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, you're given all of the fundamentals at such a young age, and it feels like once you get through elementary school, you're slowly taught more and more useless stuff. I mean, I get that some of the content is useful, but there are a lot of teachers who act like you use everything you learn in everyday life. Take math, for example. You start by learning numbers, which definitely are used daily, so that's fair. You also learn addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, all of which are used quite a bit. Then there are decimals and integers, which, although not as common, are used quite often in everyday life. All of these things are learned in elementary school, and although the earlier years do have some useless concepts, it's not nearly as bad as it is in middle school or high school. Speaking of which, let's move on to grades 6 through 8. Sure, you have some useful things like PEMDAS, but other than that, there isn't really much that I'd use in everyday life. It's not like I'm gonna be driving around one day and there will be a street sign that looks like this. Am I wrong? No, I'm not. But that doesn't matter, because if the 7th grade has taught me anything, it's that C equals 10. It's like there wasn't enough content for 12 full years of school, so teachers just added the most random and arbitrary concepts to their curriculums, because I have never in my life thought of a single real-life situation in which knowing the Pythagorean theorem would come in handy. Well, except for when I would brag about my knowledge to anybody younger than me, but that doesn't count. I'm not knocking the school system, but kids today would really benefit from schools that offer more useful classes, like cooking or money management. It would be really nice to use school as a way to slowly prepare kids for the real world, rather than just teaching them a bunch of stuff and then just letting them figure out the rest. But what do I know? I'm just a random stick figure on the internet who's just about ready to switch the topic, so that's what I'm gonna do now. You wanna know something else about school that's really stupid? Summer reading. Once school ends and you think you're free, you're given a reading assignment that requires you to read a certain number of books by the end of your summer vacation. It doesn't matter what plans you have for the coming months. You have to read. And what makes it worse is the possibility of having to do one or more book reports once the school year starts. I know summer reading is meant to keep the mind in good condition over the break so it doesn't rot, but come on! It's summer vacation, which is one of the best parts of being a kid. Do teachers really think that spending a couple of months without reading will completely destroy the human brain? Because if so, they're the adults and you've got to listen to them regardless. Hey, it's not my fault you decided to be a 12-year-old. Plus, it's just a couple of books. It may suck, but it's not so bad if you just do what I did and knock them out quickly. That's a life lesson, kids. Don't procrastinate, or it'll come back to bite you in the, butt. Anyway, moving on. To round out this episode of My Thoughts on School, I'm going to return to my 4th grade year. And if you watched these 2 videos, you'd know that the 4th grade was the biggest pain in the neck I have ever experienced. However, one thing I never mentioned in these videos is that Mrs. Electric was the teacher in charge of the chess club, which was exclusive to 4th and 5th graders. However, I loved chess. In fact, I loved it to the point where I was able to weasel my way into the club as a 3rd grader. Yup, that's right. My determination allowed me to become the only 3rd grader in the chess club. It was great, especially since Mrs. Electric hadn't been one of my teachers yet. And even after she was, I enjoyed the experience of playing chess so much that I returned in the 5th grade to do chess UIL. For those of you who don't know, UIL is basically a set of contests in which a bunch of schools compete in a bunch of different topics, one of which is chess. All kids who are participating in any UIL meet up at one school where the kids try to outperform each other to see which school has the most talented kids in each topic. I was excited to do it until I realized that chess UIL doesn't actually involve playing any chess. It's just a test filled with stupid questions like this. White can force checkmate in 2 moves. Can you find the first move? Yeah, the first move is tipping my king over because I'd rather be playing real chess than doing this trash. I ended up getting like 5th or 6th place, which is actually pretty decent considering I didn't even enjoy taking the test. And hey, remember in My Thoughts on School Part 4 where I ended off by talking about why PE should be optional? That topic was actually taken from when I did UIL Pros in the 6th grade when I read about, you guessed it, why PE should be optional. However, unlike with UIL Chess, I actually enjoyed doing UIL Pros, and I even got 1st place in it. But anyway, that wraps up this episode of My Thoughts on School. I hope you enjoyed seeing me ramble on and on about dumb stuff, and I'll see you in the end card. I've talked about a lot throughout this series, and I'm not sure if I'll be able to make a My Thoughts on School Part 6 because of that. So, if any of you have any ideas for another episode for this series, feel free to let me know in the comments. In other news, it's now 2024, so you know what that means. Welcome to the year of the pizza. I made this post not too long ago talking about it, but I think it's time I explain what the year of the pizza actually is. Back in 2014, I made my first comic character, and I called him Pizza Man. He was quite simple, but he was what started my long journey of becoming the best artist I could be, and he turns 10 years old this year. To celebrate this, each video I make this year will have hidden ingredients throughout it that, when all found, make a pizza. To start off, this video has 3 ingredients. They're listed at the bottom, and they can combine to make a simple cheese pizza. These 3 ingredients will be in every video, as they're the fundamentals of pizza making. However, over time, I'll add more toppings to make things harder. How many pizzas will you be able to make? Only time will tell. But with that, I'm gonna go. Happy New Year's and brush your teeth! And here's the first end skit of the year. Alright, that's it. Go home now. I'm done.